Happy Wednesday, and it's Poetry Day. But before I show you the book, those of you who've been watching, I just wanted to bring something up to you. A couple of weeks ago, I brought out a print that I saw that had a poet, Ada Limon, and the poem "The Other Wish" that was done in a way that you could frame it. Well, fate must have pointed its fickle finger in our direction because, and I read that poem, so there's no point in doing it again, I'm going to be working on The Carrying, poems by, you guessed it, Ada Limon. Really quite a sensitive, wonderful book. I'd like to read you on the cover, the flyleaf poem called Trying, which pretty succinctly puts us all in place. But before I do that, just a little bit about Ada Limon. She's the author of 4 books of poetry, including Bright Dead Things, which was named a finalist for the National Book Award, the National Book Critics Circle Award, and the Kingsley Tufts Poetry Award. Her work has appeared in numerous publications, including The New Yorker, The New York Times, Tin House, and American Poetry Review. Now, for the other side of the book jacket, the poem, Trying. I'd forgotten how much I like to grow things. I shout to him as he passes me to paint the basement. I'm trellising the tomatoes in what's called a Florida weave. Later we try to knock me up again. We do it in the guest room because that's the extent of our adventurism in a week of violence in Florida and France. Afterward, the sun still strong though lowering inevitably to the horizon, I check on the plants in the back, my fingers smelling of sex and tomato vines. Even now, I don't know much about happiness. I still worry and want an endless stream of more. But some days I can see the point in growing something, even if it's just to say, I cared enough. And there's a little quip in the beginning of the book by Joe Harjo, and it's quite a descriptive 3 lines, and I'm going to share them with you. She had some horses she loved. She had some horses she hated. These were the same horses. Have you ever thought about life that way? It's really kind of intriguing. Now, for her poetry. I'd like to read you each and every one, but I'll try to control myself. A name. When Eve walked among the animals and named them, nightingale, red-shouldered hawk, fiddler crab, fallow deer. I wonder if she ever wanted them to speak back, look into their wide, wonderful eyes, and whispered, "Name me, name me." Ancestors. I've come here from the rocks, the bone-like chert, obsidian, lava rock. I've come here from the trees, chestnut, bay laurel, toya, acacia, 1,000 oaks that bend with moss and the old man's beard. I was born on a green couch on Carriger Road between the vineyards and the horse pasture. I don't remember what I first saw, the brick of light that unhinged me from the beginning. I don't remember my brother's face, my mother, my father. Later, I remember leaves through car windows, through bedroom windows, through the classroom window, the way they shaded and patterned the ground. All that power from roots. Imagine you must survive without running. I've come from the lacing pattern of leaves. I do not know where else I belong. The leash. After the birthing of bombs of force and fear, the frantic automatic weapons unleashed, the spray of bullets into a crowd holding hands, that brute sky opening in a slate metal maw that swallows only the unsayable in each of us. What's left? Even the hidden nowhere river is poisoned orange and acidic by a coal mine. How can you not fear humanity? Want to lick the creek bottom dry? To suck the deadly water up into your own lungs like venom? Reader, I want to say, don't die. Even when silvery fish after fish comes back belly up and the country plummets into a crepitating crater of hatred, isn't there still something singing? Truth is, I don't know. But sometimes I swear I hear it. The wound closing like a rusted over garage door. And I can still move my living limbs into the world without too much pain. Can still marvel at how the dog runs straight toward the pickup trucks, breaking down the road because she thinks they love them. She loves them. Because she's sure, without a doubt, that the loud roaring things will love her back. Her soft, small self, alive with desire to share her enthusiasm until I yank the leash back to save her because I want her to survive forever. Don't die, I say. We decide to walk for a bit longer, starlings high and fevered above us, winter coming to lay her cold corpse down upon this little plot of earth. Perhaps we are always hurtling our bodies toward the thing that will obliterate us, begging for love from the speeding passage of time, and so, maybe, like the dog obedient at my heels, we can walk together peacefully. Well, at least until the next truck comes. And next, on a pink moon, I take out my anger and lay its shadow on the stone I rolled over what broke me. I plant 3 seeds and a spell. 1 for what will grow like air around us. 1 for what will nourish and feed. 1 for what will cling and remind me we are the weeds. Dandelion insomnia. The big-ass beads are back, tipsy and sun-drunk and heavy with thick knitted leg warmers of pollen. I was up all night again, so today's yellow hours seem strange and hallucinogenic. The neighborhood is lousy with mowers, crazy dogs, and people mending what winter ruined. What I can't get over is something simple, easy. How could a dandelion seed seemingly grow overnight? A neighbor mows the lawn and bang! The next morning, there's 100 dandelion seed heads, straight as arrows and proud as cats, high above any green blade of manicured grass. It must bug some folks. A flower so tricky, it can reproduce asexually, making perfect identical cells. Bam! Another one. Bam! Another one. I can't help it. I root for that persecuted rosette so hyper in its own making it seems to devour the land. Even its name, translated from the French, Don de Lion, means lion's tooth. It's vicious, made for a time that requires tenacity, a way of remaking the toughest self, while everyone else is asleep. And now, I swear, we could do a show sometime, basically just about not just birds, but one bird. Remember, we read Poe's The Raven several weeks ago? Well, here is Dream of the Raven. When the 10-speed lightweight bicycle broke down off the highway lined thick with orange trees, I noticed a giant raven's head protruding from the waxy leaves. The bird was stuck somehow, mangled in the branches, crying out. Wide-eyed, I held the bird's face close to mine, beak to nose, dark brown iris to dark brown iris, feather to feather. This was not the Chihuahuan raven, or the fan-tailed raven, or the common raven. Oh, nothing was common about the way we stared at one another while a stranger untangled the bird's claws from the tree's limbs, and he, finally free, became a naked child swinging in the wind. The visitor. A neighborhood, tuxedo cats walking the fence line. Dogs are going bonkers in the early morning. The louder they bark, the more their vexation grows, the less the cat seems to care. She's behind my raised beds now, no doubt looking for the family of field mice I've been leaving be, because why not? The cat's dressed up for this occasion of trespass. Formal attire for the canine taunting. But the whole clamor is making me uneasy. This might be what growing older is. My problem: I see all the angles of what could go wrong, so I never know what side to be on. Save the mice, shoo the cat, quiet the dogs. Let the cat have at it, or let the dogs have at it. Instead, I do what I do best. Nothing. I watch the cat leap into the drainage dip, dew wet fur against the daylilies, and disappear. The dogs go quiet again, and the mice are safe in their caves, and I'm here, waiting for something to happen to me. You ever felt that one? Wonder Woman. Standing at the swell of the muddy Mississippi after the urgent care doctor had just said, well, sometimes shit happens, I fell fast and hard for New Orleans all over again. Pain pills swirled in the purse, along with a spell for later. It's taken a while for me to admit I am in a raging battle with my body. The spinal column 35 degrees bent. Vertigo that comes and goes like a DC Comics villain nobody can kill. Invisible pain is both a blessing and a curse. You always look so happy. A stranger once said as I shifted to my good side, grinning. But that day, alone on the riverbank, brass blaring from steamboat Natchez out of the corner of my eye, I saw a girl, maybe half my age, dressed for no apparent reason as Wonder Woman. She strutted by in all her strength and glory, invincible, eternal. And when I stood up to clap, because who wouldn't have, she bowed and posed like she knew I needed a myth, a woman, by a river, indestructible. Notes on the below from Mammoth Cave National Park. Tell me, humongous cavern, tell me, wet limestone, sandstone, cap rock, bat wing, sightless trans translucent cave shrimp. This endless plummet into more of the unknown. Tell me how one keeps secrets so long. All my life I've lived above the ground. Car wheels over paved roads, roots breaking through concrete. And still, I've not understood the real of this life's purpose. Not so much living, but a hovering without sense. What's it like to be always night? No moon, but a few lit up circles at your many openings. Endless dark. Still, time must enter you. Like a train, like a green river. Tell me what it is to be the thing rooted in shadow. To be the thing not touched by light. No, that's not it. To not even need the light. Oh, I envy that. Desire is a tricky thing. The boiling of the body's wants. More praise, more hands holding the knives away. I've been the one who has craved and craved until I could not see beyond my own greed. There's a whole nation of us. To forgive myself, I point to the earth as my witness. To you, your frozen Niagara, your fat man's misery, you with your 400 miles of interlocking caves that leave only to more of you. Tell me, what is it to be quiet and yet still breathing? Ruler of the underlying, let me speak to both the dead and the living as you do. Speak to the ruined earth, the stalactites, the eastern small-footed bat. To honor this, the length of days. To speak to the core that creates and swallows. To speak not always to what's shouting, but to what's underneath, asking for nothing. I am at the mouth of the cave. I am willing to crawl. Of roots and roamers. Have you ever noticed how the trees change from state to state? Oh no, not all at once, of course. More like a weaver gradually weaving in another color until the old trees become scarce. The new trees offer a shaded kingdom all their own. Before I knew the names of towns or roads, I could recognize places by trees. Northern California's smooth-skinned madrone, looming eucalyptus, fuzzy, fragrant flowers of the acacia. So much of America belongs to the trees. Even when we can't agree on much, there's still the man returning from his late shift at the local bar, who takes a long look at the bird's nest in the maple, pats the trunk like a friend's forearm, mumbles something about staying safe, and returns home. And the girl whose slapdash trefoil we can see from our blurry window, how she stands there to wave at a world she does not even know the half of yet. My grandmother once complained she couldn't see much of America on a cross-country trip because it was all just trees. Ask her. She'll laugh as she tells you. Still without the bother of licenses or attention to state line. A border. They just grow where they've grown all their lives. Then, a small stand of white pine arrives. There, a redwood begins to show itself along the coastline. Water oaks in the south. Willows. Their power is in not moving. So we must move to them. The contract says, we'd like the conversation to be bilingual. When you come, bring your brownness, so we can be sure to please the funders. Will you check this box? We're applying for a grant. Do you have any poems that speak to troubled teens? Bilingual is best. Would you like to come to dinner with the patrons and sip Patron? Will you tell us stories that make us uncomfortable, but not complicit? Oh, don't read us the one where you're just like us, born to a greenhouse, garden. Oh, don't tell us how you picked tomatoes and ate them in the dirt, watching vultures pick apart another bird's bones in the road. Tell us the one about your father stealing hubcaps after a colleague said that's what his kind did. Tell us how he came to the meeting wearing a poncho and tried to sell the man his hubcaps back. Oh, don't mention your father was a teacher, spoke English, loved making beer, loved baseball. Oh, no. Tell us again about the poncho, the hubcaps, how he stole them, how he did the thing he was trying to prove that he didn't do. What I didn't know before was how horses simply give birth to other horses. Oh, not a baby by any means, not a creature of liminal spaces, but already a four-legged beast, hell-bent on walking, scrambling after the mother. A horse gives way to another horse. And suddenly, there are two horses, just like that. That's how I loved you. You, off the long train from Red Bank, carrying a coffee as big as your arm, a bag with two computers swinging in it unwieldily at your side, I remember. We broke into laughter when we saw each other. What was between us wasn't a fragile thing to be cuddled, cooed over. It came out fully formed, ready to run. The last thing. First, there was the blue wing of a scraggly, loud jay tucked into the shrubs. Then, the bluish-black moth drunkenly tripping from blade to blade. Then, the quiet that came roaring in like the R.J. Corman over Broadway near the RV shop. These are the last three things that happened. Not in the universe, but here, in the basin of my mind, where I'm always making a list for you, recording the day's minor urchins, silvery dust mote, pistachio shell, dog eating a sugar snap pea. Though it's going to rain soon, close clouds bloated above us, the air like a net about to release all the caught fishes. A storm siren in the distance. Oh, I know you don't always understand, but let me point to the first wet drops landing on the stones. The noise like fingers drumming the skin. I can't tell you. I will never get over making everything such a big deal. And now, in conclusion, instructions on not giving up. More than the fuchsia funnels breaking out of the crabapple tree, more than the neighbor's almost obscene display of cherry limbs shoving their cotton candy-colored blossoms to the slate sky of spring rains. It's the greening of the trees that really gets to me. When all the shock of white and taffy, the words, baubles, and trinkets leave the pavement strewn with the confetti of aftermath. The leaves come, patient, plodding, a green skin growing over whatever winter did to us. The return to the strange idea of continuous living, despite the mess of us, the hurt, the empty. Find them. I'll take it, the trees seem to say, a new slick leaf unfurling like a fist. I'll take it all. And these are just some of the wonderful moments that you will find in this wonderful book. Thank you for coming this afternoon. And we do look forward to Friday. And we're going to invite James Harriet to our table. And let's see what he has to say.